What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. Last week, I had to film on location, but we're back. I was at the Nurses Show, which is the National Retail Hobby Store Association dealer show, where there was a bunch of new products on display. Today, we're going to talk about some of those, as well as the rest of the news stories for this week. If you enjoyed the Scale News Update, hit the like button. Let's jump into this week's topics. One of those items that was on display at the Nurses Show were these high-tech linear actuators. Now, Hi-Tech has made linear actuators for some time, but these were some of their most recent versions. These were shown in 3 different lengths and 2 speeds available for each one. But these can basically just drop right in any RC. Standard receiver wire hookup, allowing you to add pretty interesting additional functionality to an RC model. Maybe it just gets you thinking. Maybe you didn't know these existed. Either way, I just didn't know that these new ones existed, and at the price point of only 99 bucks, it seemed pretty interesting. Something I feel like I need to find a use for. I'll link to where you can find these on the high-tech industrial side. They're already available at mainly like robot-focused stores, so maybe not the normal places you shop, but check them out. I thought they were interesting. Maybe you will as well. And then also from Hi-Tech on display at the Nurses Show, they had a couple of different servos. One was a 1/10 scale style, standard aluminum case, but with a redesigned gear train inside with larger pins and all steel gears. Hi-Tech used to be like top of the game as far as servos some time back, but as the servo wars have gone, you don't hear their name at the top as often anymore. This new one kind of goes toe-to-toe with a number of the servos that we use now, producing almost 1,000 ounces of torque on regular receiver power. Not too bad. What I forgot to check though was if they were 25 tooth on the servo splines. Don't remember. I don't have many 24 tooth horns anymore. And the other servo they had on display was a stubby 1/5 scale size. Put out a good amount of power. Again, just a little bit shorter overall than the typical 1/5 scale servos. So if you got a 5th scale project, this is one to take a look at. And speaking of 5th scale projects, HPI is re-releasing the HPI 5B. Now, if you don't remember that car, it came out in like 2007 or 2008, I believe. And when it came out, it was a 2-stroke rear-wheel drive, like kind of dune buggy, sandrail style vehicle. And it was super cool at the time. The 1/5 scale market really blew up around that model. It's been gone for some time now, like a lot of HPI things. But at the Nurses Show, there was a box there with sneak peek written on it, showing that the 5B will be returning in both an 8S capable self-build kit electric version or a self-build kit gas version. So you'll have to provide all of your electronics and power system for either version. But coming back, I was told that they'll be about 90% compatible with previous parts and versions of the truck. So there are some things that have been retooled or updated, hopefully upgraded compared to the last one for this new model. Cool to see HPI breathing some life back into the company. I want to thank Zometry for sponsoring this month of the Scale News Update. Zometry is an on-demand manufacturing platform where you can take and upload any of your files, and you can get an instant quote with their instant quote engine. Just upload it. It will give you a suggested manufacturing method, but if you want to change that for either more strength or a different finish, whatever your end goal is, you can edit your quote, select what method that you're after, and it will give you an instant price. They offer a ton of different manufacturing processes, all the way from very basic 3D printing, all the way up to higher end 3D printing like SLS or Fusion Jet. Or you can step up and go to CNC'd parts or injection molding. Just really depends what you're after. No matter what it is though, they can help you get your product going. Whether you're just looking at doing some prototyping or you're trying to get an entire product line off the line, check out Zometry, and you can save 25 bucks on your first order by using the code and the link in the description below. Check those out. Thanks again to Zometry for sponsoring this month of the Scale News Update. Last week, just as I was finishing editing the Scale News Update, the details on the TRX-4M were just starting to roll in. And this is the new 1/18 scale Traxxas. Now, people initially saw 1/18 scale and just lost their minds. Why? But Turns out that this is pretty much going to sit right next to typical 24 scales and not look all that out of place. The wheelbase of this, same as like an SCX24 Gladiator. A little bit wider though, but with how common wheel wideners are on 124 scales, I don't expect that it will be much of a headache for people. These also use standard 1.0 wheels, just like all the other SCX. These also use a standard 1.0 wheel with a 7mm hex, so all the options that are available will be ready to go. Tire sizes are right in line with the other 24 scales. I did get to handle the trucks in person and see the build quality firsthand, and it's pretty impressive. The design of everything just makes these feel really solid and put together. Oil-filled shocks, 45 degrees of steering. The bodies are being offered in either a new style Bronco or a Defender, but both are hard body and both have the clipless body mounting system where you just reach under the front and rear bumper, pop a couple of clips off, and that pulls right away. The truck uses a 2-in-1 ESC receiver combo, but it is also a light controller. So if you want to add lights to either model, you just buy the LED strings and they plug right into the receiver. But it's like the pro scale light kit. There's a lot of functionality to the truck just with that. The battery tray sits nice and low with this nice rubber strap to it. Overall, these things pretty good looking. I think that people will be really impressed once they see them in their hand. From what I'm told, these are only going to be sold online at Traxxas.com though, so you're not going to see them at the normal retailers. Normal retailers will be able to have them in stores, and they'll be able to have aftermarket and upgrade parts, which Traxxas already has a whole host of ready to go with the release of the trucks, including this little pull behind trailer that you can get for 30 bucks. Pretty nicely done and a pretty attractive price. Speaking of price, I think that these trucks are only going to be $149. So for the build quality and how they look, I think they're going to do really well. I believe these are going to be out sometime October, November. So we're going to see them before the holiday season, I'm told. This week, while looking for new product additions to the A-Main site, I did notice that a ton of new crawler innovation foam options were also added to the A-Main website. Some of these are his newer ones. Some of these are just options that A-Main didn't cover yet. So if they're one of your favorite places to shop as well, then you got a bunch more options available to you. Go check those out. Or of course, you can go to crawlerinnovations.com where that Harley 10 code still works. The new Proline Nissan hard body, not a hard body, was also officially released this week. It was also on display at the Nurses show, so got a first-hand look at it there as well. Standard 1/10 scale, 12.3-inch wheelbase body. Overall though, it seems like a little bit more compact. I mean, I know these were mini trucks, but oftentimes it doesn't really correlate to our vehicles. I don't know if it was just me, but it almost looked like it had a little tiny bit of a pinch for a little bit better clearance and approach, and it was pretty stubby in the back. They also did post that this is the first Nissan body from Proline. I guess the rest of them were protoform, so there you go. A new body option. Everyone's always so sick of Jeeps and Toyotas. Here's a new one. Next to all of those items was the massive Axial SCX6 Honcho, which was just released as well. We did see a leak of this a couple weeks back with a pretty crazy story that accompanies that whole situation, but it's real. 1/6 scale Honcho. Updated body style, which more follows the Proline metric. From a ways back, they kind of scaled it up, similar to the base camp, the front part of it at least. But on the backside, we get a Honcho-esque rear cage. Doesn't have the same styling as the previous Honcho. I kind of feel like it looks more Vetera truggy-esque than the Honcho. But overall, just bigger. It's got DeMello off-road bumpers. The interior in it looks really nice. Rear cage also has like removable sand ladders and a toolbox back there with actual room in it that you could put probably like actual usable tools just because of the size of those vehicles. I imagine that this thing is going to perform quite a bit better than the JL version, just by the size of the bumpers and the approach and departure angles all around. Now, it is a non-licensed body, and this truck is the same price as the Jeep, which was licensed, $1,099. The Honcho is being offered in two colors. One, the tan style like the SCX-10-2 version was, and the second looks orange. I think they call it red, can't remember. Either way, it looks orange to me. These are on pre-order right now, and if you go to the Horizon website and you pre-order between now and like early October, they'll send you a coupon for a free set of the XL Hyrax tires. So if you're thinking you may want to upgrade the tires, then you can follow the link below. I've put a note to which one will take you where you can find this to get the free coupon version. Check that out. Redcat just released a new body option for the lowrider platform. This is a 1962 Impala, but this body is one piece, much simpler than like the 7-piece set that it takes to build the 64 or probably that 59 as well. So you can get this 62, it's only like 50 bucks, way cheaper and probably a lot easier to paint. I'm guessing. I'm not the guy to ask, but if you like a 62, now it's available. This week, FMS officially announced that 6x6 Chevy Apache. Hard body, 6x6, like a 1/18 scale Apache. An odd choice. I don't know why you do this thing in a 6x6. I know 6x6s are appealing in some situations. I don't get this one. Maybe you guys and maybe you all understand it and I don't. Next, we have this thing. This is from Delta Plastic and it's called the MON 14 DS V2. So that must mean that there was a V1. This was someone's second attempt. Someone doesn't get this and put Ace and Gary down the side. I can't imagine. This is listed as a crawler or bouncer body. This thing puts the Lloyd to shame. You can get these 3 different ways: 1mm clear, 1.5mm clear, or 3mm ABS black. So you can technically get this as this big black hard body. It's $39.99 for the 1mm, $44.99 for the 1.5, and $49.99 for the hard body. There's only 5 of the black hard body ones available. I'm buying one. This Wednesday, Livestream Takeover, I'll be back. Matt was solo last week. Oh, he had Rich from Horizon on as a guest, but I'll be back this week, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come check in with us where we can talk about the MON 14 body. But that's going to do it for the news topics for this week. For this week's question segment, last week we talked about traveling for RC. It's not in a ton of people's priorities. Some people do. Some people take them on work trips. Seems like that was one of the more common, like travel things. Like, if I travel somewhere, I'll throw one in the car. That makes total sense. But this week, wanted to talk about nostalgia a little bit. With the re-release of the old HPI 5B, it'll be interesting to see if there's a bit of a resurgence with the 5th scale stuff. That whole segment has kind of gone down in popularity as years have progressed, especially as electric has become so popular with, regular bashers just getting bigger and bigger and hitting, those 5th scale marks even. So is there something from the past that you miss, whether it be an RC that's out of production or just something about RC that you miss? I personally do miss the boom of the comp crawling days and traveling with those, the MOAs, things like that. Looking forward to nationals this year. That's one of the big things that I do miss in RC. So let me know, whether it's car or just something about the hobby in general. Put it in the comments below. Enjoy reading your comments every week. It's my favorite part. With that, thanks as always for watching the Scale News Update. Hit the like button if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you're not already. Hit the notification bell so you see the videos as soon as they get uploaded every week. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next one.